Now, at the beginning of the process, then, having all of this worked out is going to be absolutely important for the teacher. Another important thing is for a teacher to know is that all of these things are developmental. All right, even for students at the beginning of age 5 compared to students at the end of age 5, that's a hugely important developmental year. A lot can transform itself. And so we need to be sensitive to the individual's developmental path, as well as knowing in general what the averages are, what we can expect developmentally from 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, and up through the process as well. So none of this by itself is especially philosophical. I think part of teacher training, or part of being able to do education professionally, involves knowing all of this stuff, but the more directly relevant fields of inquiry that are important here, I think, are going to be, of course, biology, human developmental biology, and so part of professional teacher training and ongoing teacher professionalism is keeping up with what we are learning, and we're learning a lot on a regular basis, continuously in developmental biology, as it bears on the age-appropriate material for the students that we will be dealing with. Also, the same can be said for psychology. Young human beings are very complicated psychological beings as well, and so keeping up with and knowing a great deal about child psychology and developmental psychology is an important part of the teacher's training and ongoing professional practice. So, biology and psychology, so we have a very clear sense of what our raw material is at the beginning of the process. Okay, good. Now, we're at the beginning of the process. In order to know also what we're going to be doing with the young human beings at that age, we should have a clear sense of what our goal is. All right, so we know at the end of the educational process, we will graduate the student, we'll put our stamp of approval on, we'll give the student a diploma and say, you are now ready to go forth as an adult. We have outputted our production from our educational system here. What is it that we are trying to produce here? Well, again, some qualifiers are important here. We are, as human beings, we are educating adult human beings. And we want those adult human beings, by the time they're finished the educational process, to be capable of functioning. All of their capacities that we think need to be developed, all of the functions that they're going to need to be able to do as adult human beings. They need to be in a position to be able to do all of those functions. And I'm going to add one more qualifier here, right, in the real world. Okay, philosophically charged term right there. But I'm adding this because partly childhood, and particularly childhood in school, we say things to students like, wait till you're out in the real world. Of course, they are in the real world already. School is part of reality, and they're dealing with real human beings and real situations. So childhood is part of real life, all to speak. But nonetheless, what I think is captured here by saying that adult life is taking on the real world as opposed to school life is that when children are still children, they do to some extent live in a buffered reality or an insulated reality. Parents and teachers, when the children are in school, do take some pains to insulate students from having to take on reality full bore, because we know that they're not yet fully able to do so. So it is a less of a full contact with the real world. But nonetheless, the expectation is by the time one is an adult, those buffers come off, the insulating comes off, and one takes on reality without parents and teachers being the intermediaries rather between you and the real world. All right, now that said, I want to tease out some philosophical implications, and I think there are several right at this point here.